And let's get this webinar underway. This webinar is our second 3CX webinar. It's going to be the second in a continuing series of webinars for 3CX partners and prospective reseller partners. And we will keep announcing these webinars as we go through the weeks coming ahead. Okay, so first of all, a few housekeeping rules. Most of this you'll see notes on the welcome screen here. If you're having problems with audio, and it looks like all of you seem to be okay at the moment, but if you do have issues with audio, you've got a choice. The default audio method is voice over IP, so speakers and microphone based on your computer. But there is an option if you prefer to dial in through PSTN, through your telephone, into audio. You can do that, and the details are up there on the screen that you're looking at the moment. There's separate dial-in numbers for Australia and for New Zealand. Dial in, put in your access code, and then you'll be asked for your audio pin, which is on the little GoToWebinar dashboard interface that you have up on your PC at the moment. If you do have any issues with audio, do use the chat facility in your GoToWebinar dashboard and shoot us a quick question, and we'll see if we can sort out your issues. But looking at everybody who's currently with us at the moment, it looks like everybody's audio is fine. Okay, during the presentation of the webinar, we will have all the attendees in the webinar on mute. If you have questions while we're actually doing the formal presentation, then please use the chat facility. Formal presentation is for people to ask a question in voice over audio to the panelists. The method for doing that is to use your interface on the attendee list. You'll see the little icon with the little raised hand. If you want to ask a question during the questions and answer session, you just click on the raise hand symbol to notify that you want to ask a question, and we'll queue you in. Okay, so welcome to the webinar. This webinar is the second in the series, as we mentioned. It's designed to give information about the value proposition for 3CX. Now we have three presenters today, myself, Karl Baker, Marketing Director at Alloy, Scott Young, our Product Development Manager, and Matt Guttilla, who's our 3CX Account Manager, and Matt is also a 3CX Certified Engineer. A lot of you existing 3CX reseller partners will know Matt from his previous career. Our agenda is pretty full, so we're going to make this fairly snappy. We want to try and get through the formal part of the presentation in 45 minutes, and there's a lot to get through. So this screen just gives you a quick rundown on the areas that we're looking to go through. To put what we're attempting to deal with in this webinar in a nutshell, we want to look first of all at the general sort of advantages that voice over IP telephone systems will bring compared to traditional telephone systems as a sort of introduction. And then we want to home in on the specific advantages that the 3CX telephone system brings to users of that system. Now, the whole idea of the content of this webinar is to give existing 3CX resellers and and prospective new 3CX resellers some ammunition in terms of how they structure their sales and their marketing to their customer base. So we're looking at issues specifically to do with 3CX and the attractive features that are in that in the 3CX product lineup. Okay, so talking about some of the general advantages of voice over IP systems. These are advantages which, some of the core advantages which relate to all voice over IP systems, software or hardware based. In particular, comparing voice over IP to traditional telephony products. And I guess the first thing in that in this area that you need to talk about is that voice over IP is a set of technologies based on open standards that are that have been put in place by international standards bodies. So we are not talking about proprietary technology, and we're not talking about systems that lock you and your users into a specific manufacturer's proprietary telephone equipment. And this is really one of the core issues to do with voice over IP. If you look back in previous years in the history of telephony, it's been dominated up until fairly recent times by monolithic manufacturers of completely proprietary equipment, extremely expensive because they have huge ability to dictate their costs, and once you select a manufacturer of that type of proprietary equipment as your telephone system, in many ways you get locked into their specific product offering. That's a huge difference to voice over IP, which, as we've just mentioned, is based on a set of open standards dictated that have been put together by international bodies, with a whole range of developers and manufacturers creating their hardware and software products to meet those international open standards, and there's huge benefits there in terms of interoperability between different manufacturers' products, and there's a huge driver there to limit costs and bring equipment costs down because there's so much more competition. Another big benefit of voice over IP compared to traditional product, you have that ability to, as an end user, consumer of voice over IP telephone equipment, to select best of breed products from a range of multiple IP communications vendors. So when you're coming to pick your IP phones and your IP-PBX and all the other items that go to make a telephone system, you have the ability to pick the best of breed in your view from the various things that are various items that are available. What else? One of the issues that's often talked about in relation to voice over IP systems and adopting voice over IP is much lower installation costs. And there's a whole range of things there. One of the key things that's often talked about is because voice over IP is a technology and a system based on networking, on IP networking, you can install your voice over IP system and use your existing networking system, which means you don't have to duplicate cabling. And there can be some big gains there in terms of costs by using your existing network cabling infrastructure. Generally, you'll find that voice over IP is a system that provides lower ongoing system maintenance costs. And one of the big drivers that makes this possible is that you will frequently find that you can have one entity, one reseller providing their end user base with maintenance on their telephony and their networking systems because they've converged into one system. And generally, when you look at the maintenance costs for a voice over IP system and compare them to the sort of costs that people have to sign up to for traditional TDM telephone systems, there's a huge difference in the benefit of lower costs for voice over IP. You'll generally find that call costs for voice over IP systems are lower. That has narrowed to some extent over the years since voice over IP has become more widely deployed, because the Telstras and the Optuses of this world have had to react to some extent to the lower call costs that have been offered by voice over IP. But you will generally find, in terms of local calls, interstate calls, international calls, that you can achieve some significant cost reductions in terms of ongoing call costs for your voice over IP system. And finally, you will generally find that the vast majority of voice over IP PBX systems will give you all the features that you will find in quite high level traditional PBXs, and then you will get some extra features and flexibility over and above what was offered by the vast majority of traditional PBXs. And you'll see some of those issues referred to in the rest of this presentation. But it's generally the case that if you adopt a voice over IP system, you're going to have a system that's it's got at least as many features, probably more, and is going to be more flexible than a traditional telephone system. Okay, so that's some of the general advantages of voice over IP as a technology. With 3CX, of course, we're talking about a software IP-PBX, and as I'm sure we all are aware, there are both hardware and software IP-PBXs available on the market. So what are some of the advantages of opting for a software approach to an IP-PBX as opposed to a hardware or an appliance approach? Well, we picked out a number of issues here. First of all, if you're looking at adopting or implementing a software PBX, IP-PBX, then because it's software, it is generally much easier to try before you buy. And certainly with 3CX, there is good opportunities for any end user or reseller to easily have a look at the product in detail as a working system before you actually part with any dollars to purchase the product. Secondly, very, very easy with a software IP-PBX product to integrate with hardware. Very easy generally you'll find that most software IP-PBX companies have spent a lot of time doing interoperability testing with hardware, IP phones, gateways and the like, and certainly that's the case with 3CX, which we'll see a bit further on in the presentation. One of the aspects of software PBXs which have been very noticeable over the last few years, they generally as a class of product have become much easier to install. And with 3CX, we'll look at this in a bit more detail shortly, because it's designed for the Windows environment, then the issue becomes how tight and how tight is the integration into the Windows environment, how easy is it to install, and you'll see later in the presentation that that's something that is a big bonus for 3CX. Scalability. Different voice over IP, IP-PBX systems use different ways to license the product. Generally, the two main methods for licensing and scaling up on an IP-PBX system is either by extension count or numbers of simultaneous calls per concurrent calls that can be borne by the system. And it's generally a feature of any software IP-PBX that it's very easy to scale up your system as your company grows or your organization grows. And again, that's an issue that we'll look at shortly in the presentation in relation to 3CX. We touched on the integration with the operating system. Generally, with software IP-PBX products, you have to have extremely tight integration with Linux or Windows or whatever it is, whatever operating system the program is designed to work within. Again, we'll look at that issue in relation to 3CX and Windows. Second to last point, being a software approach, that's an ideal platform for a modular architecture for an IP-PBX, and we'll see later on in the presentation with 3CX that there's some really good features there in terms of a modular architecture for add-on items to the 3CX IP-PBX. And finally, with a software approach to an IP-PBX, you generally find that moving up to a new version, upgrading in general is very easy to do in a software type environment. Okay, so where do we stand with 3CX and the issues that we've just talked about? Well, does it support try before you buy? Well, it certainly does. 3CX offer a free edition that's available to end users and resellers. Anybody who jumps onto their website can get 3CX's free edition and try out the basic 3CX telephone system. And there are additional opportunities for resellers to get a 3CX system as well. So certainly with 3CX you can definitely try before you buy. Can you use your own preferred hardware? Yes, you can. And in addition, 3CX have done a huge amount of work with third-party vendors, interoperability testing, making sure that support programs for specific brands of third-party hardware are there in place, and we'll go through that as well. Easy to install, certainly is, and 3CX make extensive use of wizards. It makes the 3CX telephone system a real joy to install. Scalability, well, 3CX is highly scalable. For starters, out of the box you get support for unlimited extensions. 3CX is licensed by concurrent calls, and in terms of scalability you can scale right up from a system that supports 4 simultaneous calls right up to a system that will support a 1024. So you can put in place big systems if that's what you need. Tight integration with operating system certainly does, and 3CX is fully MS Windows certified. Easy to put in place add-on functionality. Yep, there are a number of 3CX add-on modules available. We'll look at some of those in a moment. Just to pick out a couple, there is specific modules for contact center capability and modules to support mobile telephony. Is it easy to upgrade? Certainly is. the upgrading of a 3CX system either to a new version or to go up to a higher level of system is extremely easy to do, and there's also upgrade insurance capability that's available as well. And can you save costs? Well, yes you can. It's a fundamental of voice over IP that cost savings are part of the picture, and that's certainly the case with 3CX in a huge variety of different ways. And again, just to pick out one example of that, 3CX, as we mentioned, gives you the ability to add unlimited users, unlimited extensions to the system. Okay, so that gives you an idea of where 3CX is sitting in terms of their attraction in the marketplace. So we'll go now to Matt, and Matt's going to take us through an overview of 3CX product range. Over to you, Matt.
Thank you, Karl. Good morning all, and good afternoon to our people over in New Zealand. I've been playing with 3CX, and deploying 3CX for the past 4 years. So I've seen it grown way back from version 6 right up to now. The advancement that 3CX has done in the past 4 years is incredible. Things that we can do that comes out of the box, especially with a standard 3CX phone system, things like voice to email, so as an attachment. Also the integration with Microsoft Outlook straight out of the box. There's no extra licensing for that. It basically reduces costs. It's all web-based, so basically by being the administrator you can access the 3CX server from anywhere, and this is on a standard edition. Okay, it's web-based configuration and status indication. It's easy for phone system management. It has unified communications. It has an auto attendant. Well, you can have multiple auto attendants. Reduces long distance and inter-office call costs. There's no more, like Karl was saying, expensive proprietary system phones. You can use standard SIP phones. Okay, on any 3CX system, 3CX also provides easy downloads for your 3CX Windows phone or your mobiles, which supports Apple iOS and Android. Okay, some of the added modules that are a little bit extra that you can purchase for 3CX are things like a call center edition. Some of the key features on the call center editions is things like advanced real-time queue statistics. You can monitor queue status, review the number of callers in a queue, log agents in and out of queues, advanced agent statistics, things like time an agent logged in and out of the queue, review the number of answered and unanswered calls, average and longest wait time, and more. It also has a wallboard, so you can see real live of what everyone is doing, just by basically using an extra screen on different sections of the call center. It also has a really cool callback feature, which allows the customer to hang up and retain their position in the queue. The customers also call back when the agent becomes available, and then the callback notification emails are sent to a supervisor. It also has additional queue strategies. It has round robin, has longest waiting time, least talk time, fewest answered calls. It hunts by threes at random or hunts by three prioritized. It also has SLA alerts. Supervisors and managers can be notified when callers have to wait beyond a configurable amount of time. Events are logged in order to meet customer service requirements. And those SLAs are all emails are sent to the supervisor. Now, some of the key features in the call center module that is inclusive. It has what we call a listen in, which is a supervisor can screen calls by listening in without the agent and caller knowing about it. It also has listen and whisper, which means the supervisor may need to relay some important information to the agent without the customer hearing. It also has a barge in. What the barge in allows you to do is basically automatically make a conference three-way call. So the supervisor can enter the call and assist the agent and the customer of all employees. Now 3CX also caters for hotels. Now there's two types of hotel modules that 3CX provides. The standard hotel module is basically aimed at smaller hotels with additional functions. It allows for the check-in and check-out of guests. It allows setting of guest extensions to do not disturb. It allows blocking of external calls. Allows wake-up calls to be scheduled. Also allows housekeeping to be set room status. It also tracks calls the guest makes and lists them upon a checkout for easy billing. And these are basic standards of what most hotels do with a phone system. However, 3CX also has a PMS module, which is property management system software. What this allows you to do is, for most hotels that have existing software, it interfaces with them. It interfaces with most of the most used systems around the world, such as Micros Fidelio, Roommaster, Hilton, and more alternative receptionists can use system directly through the provided web interface, so she knows what's going on. When you're using PMS, 3CX just basically runs on the background, and what it does, it pushes all this data into the PMS. Okay. We've also got a 3CX multi-tenant edition. Now the multi-tenant edition is for a hosted solution. So some of you that are thinking of hosting 3CX for up to 20 clients, you can use that on one server. So what actually happens is you can actually run 20 instances of 3CX on one single server. The limitations are you can only have up to 32 simultaneous calls per PBX or per instance. Now if you'd like more information about the multi-tenant, because there's a special license download, please give us a call or contact me at Alloy and I'd be happy to pass it on. Okay, 3CX for Windows Phone, right, is a free download. All the apps for, like I said, for your Android or for your iOS devices are free downloads. Simple to use, and they can also be deployed instantaneously. Okay, we move on to the quickly moving to the 3CX Mobile Device Manager. This is a new product to our stable. What 3CX worked on was on tracking mobiles and Android devices. What we're finding is around the world there's so many stolen or lost every year. So this is basically a solution to find and track any device. Basically what it does is you'll always know where your mobile devices and where they are and where they've been. With the 3CX Mobile Device Manager, the service automatically stores complete location history for each device, or only for specific groups for complete analysis. It also allows you to completely wipe that device, whether it's connected or not. What actually happens is they've usually got passwords set in these things, so as soon as someone picks it up, if they don't get it right with a few attempts, it will wipe the unit. It's something new. It's a free download. There's two versions of this. One is a hosted version, which is much less expensive. The other one is a full hosted version. You can find the pricing on the web page. For more information regarding this, you can always shoot me a quick email. Now, some of the great add-ons that 3CX has is what we call a voice application designer. This is an add-on feature, so anyone that wants to develop 3CX with more functionality that it already has, you can actually purchase this as a once-off, and you can basically build as many applications as you like. Okay, the 3CX VAD, known as a VAD, VAD, has a graphical interface that lets you put together components for your voice applications using drag and drop rather than cumbersome scripting or programming. Visually design an application now, you can design one in hours rather than weeks. Basically, how this works is, for instance, is to interrogate the caller. Things like account numbers. Please, dial your account number. What actually happens is the 3CX or the phone will pick up the signal and will basically interrogate a database that you've set up. So that's just a quick run through of what the modules actually do. For more information, please feel free to ask questions or email me directly at Alloy. Thank you for listening.
Okay, now we'll go to Scott Young, and Scott is going to take us through some of the specific value points that 3CX offer to users of their systems. Over to you, Scotty.
Thank you very much, Karl. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Firstly, what I'd like to do is just go into more detail about some of the valued options of 3CX. Karl went through some of these in a little bit of detail earlier on, so I'd like to just go into a bit more detail on some of these topics. So firstly, try before you buy. The fantastic thing about 3CX is anybody can download a free edition of the software from 3CX's website. Now, Alloy also has a link from our website to the download area on the 3CX website. Now, the free edition allows end users, resellers, anybody that wants to have a play with the system to download it, install it, configure it, learn the system, play with the system, utilize the system, and work out whether the system is going to be suitable for what they require. Now, a couple of limitations with the free edition. The free edition is limited to 4 simultaneous calls, and some of the advanced PBX features are not supported in the free edition. Now, for a full comparison chart between the free edition and the paid version of the 3CX software can be found on the 3CX website. Now, another fantastic feature is the ability to be able to utilize the free edition that you've already installed on your system and play with and configured it. What we can do is, if you decide to purchase the 3CX system, all you need to do is contact your reseller or your partner. End users give you a call. You go out, you purchase a system through Alloy, you send them a license key, and they can activate and turn their free edition into a commercial edition. No need to reinstall the product, no need to reconfigure the product. They can just utilize the product that's already been configured and that they've already been playing with. Now, in regards to 3CX partners, now when you sign up and become a partner, straight away, without purchasing anything, without spending any money at all, 3CX give you a free NFR license. Now, the free NFR license is the mini edition, which again allows for 4 simultaneous calls, but you get all the unlocked features and the full functionality of that PBX. Now, once a reseller purchases their first system, 3CX will then unlock and upgrade their license key to the Small Business Edition, which gives them 8 simultaneous calls and also gives them the call center edition as well. So all they need to do is purchase one product, and then their NFR license key gets upgraded to the Small Business Edition. Now, one limitation with that is if you do not purchase any more products within a 6-month period, then that NFR license key will actually become deactive. Once you purchase again, then that key will become active again. Okay, moving on to the preferred hardware for 3CX. Because 3CX is a SIP-based product, it's an open standard product, we can basically connect any SIP-aware product to our 3CX system. We're not locked in to proprietary hardware where we need to use the same branded products with our PBX, our phones, our gateways, whatever we want to use. We can use pretty much any brand we want, as long as the product is a SIP-based product. Now, in saying that, 3CX do have a list of supported products. They have a list of IP phones, voice over IP gateways that 3CX support themselves as a company. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to use those supported products, but if you do choose to use a product that isn't supported, then 3CX will not support that product. So if you do run into problems with that product, you have compatibility issues between 3CX and that third-party product, if it's not supported, 3CX will not support you to resolve those issues. Now, but because it is SIP-based, as long as the two products are abiding by the SIP standards, there shouldn't be any real issues. Now, some of the third-party devices that 3CX do certify are Yealink IP phones. Yealink have a range of video phones, standard desktop IP phones, and also decked IP phones that work perfectly with the 3CX system. Snom, again, an IP phone vendor, also have a range of certified 3CX IP phones. Pattern is a brand used to add VoIP gateway connectivity to your 3CX system, and Pattern is again a certified partner of 3CX. Okay, 3CX, extremely easy to install. Doesn't get much easier to install a PBX system. 3CX can be installed on Windows servers or Windows workstations. It can be installed on existing Windows systems, or it can be installed on a dedicated server or workstation. Now, realistically, we would recommend that the system is installed on a dedicated workstation or server. You don't really want to run 3CX or a phone system, a mission-critical phone system, on a Windows box that's running Active Directory or Exchange server. Those Windows components are quite resource-hogging components, so realistically, it's best to run the 3CX software on a dedicated Windows box. Now, for a full list of the supported Windows operating systems, you can find that on the 3CX website. But the main Windows operating systems are all supported. Windows 7, I think Windows 8 now as well, Windows 2008, 2003, all the major current Windows operating systems are all supported. Now, installing the actual system on Windows is extremely straightforward. It's an executable file that you run. It installs all the necessary components it needs automatically on the Windows box. Once the installation is complete, it opens up a wizard and you start configuring the basic settings of your PBX. Through the wizard, basic settings such as location, language settings, IP address of the system, initial extension configuration, VoIP carrier configuration, email settings, all can be done through the initial setup wizard. Now, what another fantastic function of 3CX is the ability to actually back up your configuration of your 3CX system and then restore it back onto a new PC as well. So when you're going through the initial setup wizard of the 3CX system, it allows you to either configure a new system or to restore an existing backup file that you have from a different system. Now, the 3CX MyPhone, which is your UC client application, is also a simple executable file that can be run on Windows or Mac. Once you've installed it, you enter your username and your password, and you're off and running. You have a full UC-capable software client where you can see presence, instant messaging support. You can click to dial all straight out of the little application, 3CX MyPhone application. Okay, scalability. 3CX allows you to grow your system easily. It allows you to grow the system as your customers' needs grow. The way that the system is upgraded is simply by changing the license key that you have installed on the system. Because the system is Windows-based, is software-based, there's no need to go out and change hardware, and all you need to do is simply change the license key, and it will allow your system to move from, for instance, a small business edition to the professional edition, just in the matter of changing a license key. Now, 3CX scales from the mini edition, being 4 concurrent calls, all the way up to Enterprise Edition 1024, allowing up to 1024 concurrent calls. Now, being such a scalable system, 3CX can also be run as a virtualized system and can be run as a multi-tenant solution as well on a virtualized VMware type system. If you're running a multi-tenant solution, you can actually host up to 20 different 3CX systems on one virtual server. The only limitation that you have with those 20 systems is that each system can only support up to 32 simultaneous calls. If you need to go above that, then you need to split your installs across multiple virtual servers or physical servers. Now, as I stated before, all you need to do to upgrade from one edition to another is change the license key. Now, depending on the server that you're running your system on, if you are running your system on a system that does have only a small amount of memory or a small processor, and you do want to move from, say, a small business edition all the way up to an Enterprise 128, then you may find that you do have to change your hardware. Now, if you do need to do that, the beauty is that we can back up the system, reinstall it on the new hardware that you have, go through the wizard, and restore the backup file that you've had, and straight away you're up and running again in no time. Okay, management. 3CX system is simple to manage. It's a web-based management utility that gets installed when you install your 3CX system. Now, because the system is web-based and all the management is web-based, this allows us to be able to remotely manage your system, your 3CX system as well. Now, whether that's through accessing the actual web management of the 3CX system, or whether you're doing remote management via a TeamViewer session or an RDP session. So remote management, very easy to do, and allows the resellers to remotely monitor and manage their customers' systems. Now, we also are able to monitor events and performance of the 3CX system through the management console of the 3CX system. Now, we can also set up SNMP traps. We can set up email alerts for system failures. So if your VoIP trunk goes down or an extension loses registration, we can set the system up to email the administrator alerts. Now, once again, utilizing back on the virtualization of the system, if we install 3CX on a virtualized system on VMware or Hyper-V, this is going to save us lots of money on hardware and also energy costs. Okay, integration of 3CX with third-party applications and Windows. 3CX is certified by Windows. It's Windows Server certified. It runs on Windows 7, Windows 8 clients. It runs on, like I said before, Windows 2003, 2008 servers. It has a tight integration with Windows. For those of you guys out there that aren't Linux fans and are always looking after or always have looked after Windows servers, this makes an easy fit for you guys to be able to go out and sell 3CX because you know a lot about Microsoft Windows and you know how to troubleshoot Windows, and because the 3CX system also has a lot of alerting and stuff, if you do run into problems, it's quite easy to troubleshoot. Now, other integration types is Exchange and Outlook. Being able to integrate 3CX into Outlook allows us to be able to click the dial from our Outlook clients, which is a huge benefit for users. Now, as well as the Outlook integration, we can also integrate the 3CX system into a range of CRM applications. Applications such as Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, Sugar CRM, Sage Act, and Google Contacts can all be done. Now, integration into these CRM packages is an additional cost. And the way that this is charged is per user. So you will need a license for the amount of users that you want to be using the Salesforce or the CRM integration. All right, now we're moving on to easy add-on functionality, and we'll take that back to Matt.
Well, there's the mic on. Hi guys, I'm back. Okay. Some of the easy free features, as mentioned previously, the 3CX mobile telephony, so for Android or iOS. Now these can be deployed remotely as well via the management tool. What 3CX can do for per extension that even is remotely, you can actually send them a quick link. They will get it via email, so all they really need to do is click on the link and that mobile will automatically be set up, providing that they've downloaded the app from the app stores. Now, some of the really cool stuff that 3CX does, especially for the call center editions. I mean, the expense that it used to cost to basically put a call center edition together, the costs were astronomical. If you look at the pricing of 3CX and the feature it has for the contact center edition, mind you, all these reports can also be seen by anyone who's got administrative privileges straight on the web GUI. We'll probably get onto this a little bit more once we get into deploying and how to use 3CX, but all the features are there. Especially in the call center feature, it also has a great feature which is called a priority queue. So, you know, if you guys have or a business has a contract with specific customers that need special attention because they are paying more for support, then they can be basically designated a contact number straight through, and what 3CX can do is basically prioritize their call. So their call always go to a priority queue and it will tell you it needs to be answered. Things like the hotel module. We're probably one of the first PBXs that really jumped out without, you know, proprietary software that can do this. We also have a plugin which is an extra paid license for property management systems or proprietary software. So that is an extended module. And like I said, 3CX will just run on the background and talk to these proprietary management systems. All right, as you know, the mobile device manager is free. I've used it for quite a while. I've tracked my kids' iPods and mobile devices. You can get a free download from the 3CX website. It will give you up to 5 devices, and have a really good play with it. It's a really useful tool, especially with people that are, you know, really concerned about sensitive data in case any device should get stolen. This is a really good product. I think in the next few months this is really going to take up in a big way. The hosted solution is available. I would say the on-premises, your own hosted solution will be available probably in the next couple of months as well. Has anyone got any questions regarding some of the features?
We'll take questions in a moment, Matt. But
Yep.
right now, let's just move back to Scotty, and Scotty's going to just mention some issues about upgrading.
Okay, guys, just in regards to upgrading the system, as I was stating earlier on, any addition of the 3CX software that you have can be easily upgraded with a license key. That's all it is. No need to change settings or reconfigure settings or wipe settings and have to reconfigure the system. It's all just a matter of upgrading that license key. Now when you upgrade that license key, it then just unlocks the additional features that you require. So built out, all it is one simple install, and then the features that you require get unlocked based on the license key that you have. Now in regards to being able to upgrade your system, now when you purchase your system, you get a year of upgrade insurance with that system. Now to be able to keep upgrading your system, you need to pay that upgrade insurance on a yearly or annually. You need to pay your upgrade insurance annually. Now if you do keep paying your upgrade insurance annually, you then have access to the newest model every year. Now 3CX are renowned to releasing a major release once every 12 months. So as long as you have that upgrade insurance, you can then go out and upgrade to the latest version on a yearly basis. Now if your upgrade insurance does expire, don't worry, we can get you back under insurance. That can all be done quite easily as well. Once again, just letting everyone know that the ease of the upgrade is very straightforward. It's a license key. That's all it is. Very straightforward. Okay, Karl, on to you. Enhancing productivity.
Okay, guys, thank you for that, Scotty. Okay, just very quickly on this issue. It's fair to say that the productivity gains that can be made through a good voice over IP system like 3CX is really one of the key issues that make a voice over IP system appealing to end user customers of the product. Going back again to traditional PBXs, many of you, I'm sure, will have been involved with that in reselling that class of product, and I'm sure a lot of you will have really strong memories of the proprietary approach to telephony and just how much of a straitjacket many of those proprietary systems put you into. You had to, the users of many of those proprietary systems had to do it their way, or you didn't use their system at all. Voice over IP systems, and 3CX is a really magnificent example of this. Voice over IP systems are inherently more flexible, give you many options to configure your system to meet the business communication workflows that your system has, and it's really, with 3CX, you really do have a magnificent platform to configure these systems for your end user customers to match the telephone system to how your end users companies work in many ways, and right up to if you've used the voice application designer add-on module, you can go right up to the ultimate level of writing specific third-party call control applications to get that ultimate level of flexibility to the way your end user companies work. This type of approach that voice over IP represents gives huge potential to increase the efficiency and productivity of end user businesses. It really puts us into an era where key staff in any organization can be put in touch with customers, clients of a company in many more ways and much more easily, with things like unified communication capabilities, mobile telephony. There's just a host of ways to make people in any organization more approachable, more contactable, give them more opportunities to be able to use telephony systems. A few examples of that, and this is a few out of many hundreds of features that are available in 3CX. Calling directly from Outlook, for example, on just a simple click. Using auto attendance to set up very sophisticated voice menuing to redirect calls, for example. So it's entirely possible to run organizations with no receptionist at all, or maybe have a receptionist for some interface capability, but a lot of calls, flowing directly to the areas that they need to go to. Hot desking, people going into companies, being able to access the telephone system from any physical location in the company, whether that be in a single site company or with companies that have multiple sites and share a 3CX system right across all their physical office locations. So huge benefits in terms of enhancing productivity, and the ability and the methods for enhancing productivity should form one of the really key value proposition areas that resellers can talk to their prospective customers about. Okay, so that concludes the bulk of the formal part of what we're doing. So we're going to hand on now to Scotty and then back to me to talk about a few things that are coming up in the future. And we're going to hand over to Scotty now to talk about 3CX training opportunities that are coming up. Here you go, Scotty.
Thanks, Karl. Okay, guys, just to let you all know, to give you a heads up again about the upcoming 3CX training. So we're running training in Sydney and Melbourne. Now, it's a 2-day course. The first day is the introductory course, and the second day being the advanced course. Now, there's not many spaces left, so if you do want to attend the training, please jump on the Alloy website or the 3CX website and register for the training as soon as possible. I think in the Sydney, for the Sydney training, there's probably only about 4 or 5 spaces left, and in Melbourne, probably about 7 or 8 spaces left. So if you do want to get to the training, please jump on the website now and register as soon as you can. Now, in regards to more training sessions, Alloy will be running 3CX training sessions in the future, and we will hope to have a training session scheduled for the next 2 or 3 months away. So look out for that, and hopefully, yeah, it's not going to be too far away for you guys. Thanks, Karl.
Thank you, Scotty. Okay, and a couple of other issues. First of all, I know a number of the guys that are with us today in this webinar are already 3CX partners, but those of you who are looking at the possibility of signing up as 3CX partners, it's very easy to do. You can jump onto the 3CX website and do this through an online application. The URL's up on the screen at the moment. You can join for free. There's no upfront commitments. You get a free NFR 3CX license, as we've mentioned already, and as Scott has just mentioned, there are free training events. And on that note, we will, of course, be doing further training events in the months to come, and we'll announce those on the website and in future webinars. And also, before we go to our question and answer session, we'll be running our third 3CX reseller webinar on Wednesday, June the 5th. This one has more of a technical focus, so our next webinar is entitled Deploying a 3CX Telephone System. And Matt will be doing a lot of the work on this one, and we'll be looking at how you actually deploy a 3CX telephone system, and that'll include a whole host of tips and tricks that will help you speed up that system and make it really clean and hassle-free. So we'll be sending out emails to with details of how to register. It's already up on our website on the link that you can see there if you do want to look at details and register for that webinar as well. And of course, we'd be delighted to see all of you join us again on June the 5th. Okay, so that concludes the formal part of our webinar. So we can go now to audio question and answers. Now, just to remind people, in your GoToWebinar dashboard on the attendee tab, where you'll see there's a little icon there, raised hand, where you can signify to us that you want to ask a question. So if anybody who wants to ask a verbal question over the air to us, just raise your hand and we'll cue you in. So looking at the list, I think Helen has a question at the moment. Helen, would you like to ask your question?
No, it was answered earlier. It was really more about the market segment that the 3CX solutions are pitched at. I think you answered that quite well. Thank you.
Okay, right. Thank you, Helen. So just recapping on that one, I think it's fair to say that 3CX have traditionally been very strong in small to mid-sized systems, but as we've seen in the section in this presentation on scalability, 3CX will take you right up to big systems that can support up to 1,024 simultaneous calls, and you can also use 3CX bridged over multiple physical locations for an integrated system into multi-site companies. And there's also the capability to run 3CX on virtualized server systems as well, which can support really big installations. So I'm looking to see if anybody else has got a question. Don't be shy now. If you've got anything to ask, take the opportunity. While we're just giving everybody a few moments just to see if they're sorting through their thoughts to see if there's anything they want to check out, can I just mention one thing? When we wind up on the webinar and everybody leaves, you will see a very short 4-question survey come up with a few very simple questions that will take no more than 30 seconds to answer. We would really appreciate if you guys could answer that little post-webinar survey. Big plus for us if you could do that. Okay, we have a question from David. David, if you'd like to fire off your question.
Yeah, just wondered if we knew when there was going to be more progress on version 12.
So more progress on, I didn't quite catch the last bit of that, David.
On version 12.
All right, okay. Matt, maybe you might be a good one to go over this.
Sure. Hi, David. As you probably know, the alpha is out. There's pretty much a total rebuild on this one because it's navigating away from Silverlight, and it will just be able to run it on HTTP and HTTPS, so there won't be any needing to use Silverlight. I've played with the alpha myself. It looks really good. The connectivity on it is really, really good. I would say usually when 3CX announce something like this, we probably put it on a test case for about 3 months. So I would say by about Q3, you should start seeing the first release.
Okay, that's all good.
And just another quick point on that. As soon as we get a definite date on the release of version 12, I should imagine we will run a webinar for resellers on the new version, and we'll go over the new version in detail. Okay, any questions from anybody else? I will just mention to everybody before we wind up for the day, we do record the webinars, so you will all get an email probably tomorrow advising you when the recorded version of the webinar goes up on our website. So if you want to look back over it and refresh your memory on things that we discussed and presented on, then you'll be able to run the recording when we get that posted, and you will get an email on that. Okay, looks like we're just about done on questions. One final call for questions. If you have anything you want to ask, it's put up or shut up time. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Been another very interesting webinar. I hope all you guys got a lot of value out of this. The job, of course, of supporting you guys in your marketing and sales activity with your customers is an ongoing issue, and something that we'll always be there here at Alloy to support you with. So please, if you have any, along with all the normal technical type stuff, if you have any input that you want from us on sales and marketing type issues, do please get in touch with us. We're always happy to talk about those sorts of issues. If you have specific opportunities, sales opportunities for 3CX that you want our support on, then of course we're more than happy to talk to you directly and get involved if needs be. Thank you very much for your time. We will be convening again in 2 weeks' time on June the 5th for the third of our 3CX webinars. Thank you very much for today, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.